All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. And Todd, we're back with you. Correct. And I think we can go to item 10 on our agenda. And that happens to be ag service business. So Todd, if you want to take over.
Thank you. I believe the first thing we got is just a quick update for you on how everything's going. I was also supposed to let Mark know when we were back in session, or when you were back in session, so maybe Ariana can like throw something at him from her desk or something. But quickly on what we've been up to, we all our partnerships are really just about done now for the work that they wanted us to do. The urban spraying is just about wrapped up. We did quite a bit of work for Grasslands Public Schools, lots of gopher maintenance for them, as well as weed control. We are continuing to work on our noxious weed spraying, more specifically on the early season weeds right now, and they just started into some baby's breath. So our early weeds are downy brome and hoary cress, and yeah, they're just moving into some baby's breath right now. So if you see any of that, that's we're the people to talk to. Next week, we're starting on the CPR tracks, doing their control work for them on contract. And we do our roadside mowing and spraying starts next week as well. So Kim started yesterday a little bit doing some road top spraying for the Public Works or Municipal Services, just to kind of limit how much grading they have to do on some of the dead end and low use roads. And they're getting the trucks geared up right now to start our roadside spraying, which is our normal blanket spray operations. Hamlet mowing, it's keeping up so far, I think, doing a pretty good job. And Emerson's having a good start to the season. You know, money's flowing in. People seem to be enjoying it. Near as I've heard, there hasn't been too many complaints, and that's wonderful. We are going to run our rural beautification program this year. We're hoping we can do a tour again. I know I always enjoy the tour, and I think the participants always enjoy the tour. So hoping we can do that. And then, yeah, just the last thing I want to touch on, our soil advisory meeting. I think it went fantastic. We had 4 members that were able to attend that day. It was kind of, I wanted to get things kicked off in May, just to kind of get the ball rolling, because we want to have a policy in front of council sometime before fall. And yeah, so no, we had a great meeting, discussed all things soil erosion and, you know, around the table why we thought things were the way they are, and you know, the different practices that have led up to this, the different crops that we grow now, the things that have changed over the last 20, 30, 40 years. You know, even just since conservation tillage kind of came into be a buzzword, if you will, in the 80s. Yeah, it was an absolutely great meeting, and I'm really looking forward to our next one, which I believe is 2 weeks from now, where we're going to start hashing out what a policy might look like to bring forward. So just trying to get some wording knocked down, trying to get some, you know, what kind of resources they think we should be putting towards something like this in terms of inspections and conversations, training, and then obviously the enforcement part is going to be a big part of that as well. But like I say, great meeting, and I'm looking forward to what we can come up with for you guys to look at. So, and that's kind of where we're at.
Questions for Todd? Anne-Marie?
Todd, can you give us an update on dogwood? I'm assuming it's not only in Patricia, it must be all over the county. Wormwood, whatever. You know.
Oh, yes, absinthe wormwood. Yeah, absinthe wormwood it's a tricky one. I'm a Manitoba kid, and we had it in our pastures all the time. We called it stinkweed. I grew up and realized that stinkweed is a completely different thing. But anyways, absinthe wormwood, it tends to be in disturbed soils. it likes overgrazed areas. It likes gravel areas. We have it, and we've had it for as long as I've been here, kind of spread from Bow City up to Patricia, but it's certainly increasing in areas. I wouldn't want to say it's not invasive in a sense that it'll take over, but it's relatively easy to kill with the right products. We've had some good success, even just with one application, but you have to use a little more expensive products than we might be used to, just around the farm kind of thing. So a lot of the range and pasture products that Corteva has take care of it. Bayer has a couple that take care of it, but they can be a little more pricey than what we're used to, for sure.
So Anne Marie, there's been some, or Todd identified, or it's not something it's getting to be worse, is what I guess I'm mumbling about.
Yeah, I think specifically to Anne Marie's area, kind of up by the gravel pits at Steveville is where some of the concern is stemmed at right now. Seems like, at least from the landowner's perspective, it came in on some gravel crush equipment and just kind of been moving around from there. And weeds have that tendency to come in however we allow them to and do what they do. So if that's how it came in, that's how it came in, but now we got to deal with it after the fact. So working a little bit with one of Anne Marie's friends up there and just going to help take care of a little bit. We've done our stuff in the Steveville pit to try to take care of some of that concern over the years. And there's just a few other areas that we have to work on with them.
Okay, Hubie.
So Todd, historically, this might be a tough question. Do we get more weeds coming from other provinces, or are we sending them out from our province to others?
Well, Hubie, we do such a good job with weed control in this county. Our landowners we're absolutely a net importer. I wish we were a net exporter. That would be way better. But no, we certainly see different weeds coming that we haven't had before, and I think that just comes from how connected our worlds are anymore. I mean, we have lots of landowners that also have land in other provinces. We have cattle that transport across borders constantly. We have a dry year. There might be hay coming from Saskatchewan, Manitoba. We might be sending it on their dry years, right? So, well, yeah, but yeah, no, I think if I was a betting man, I would bet we're a net importer.
Thanks,
Because
Todd.
the landowners are awesome.
Brian?
Can't help but add, with the winds we've had a few days, it probably went right from Alberta, those weeds, right to Manitoba, to your Molly and Todd stomping grounds with the ferocity of the winds we've had. So I also wanted to add, as you quoted last time, Todd, on my journeys through my other job, I came across a field that was infested in gophers, and it counted 25 hawks. And it's a neighbor of yours, Todd. Unbelievable. I couldn't believe how many hawks were out there, but they were busy because there was gophers crawling over the farm. But 25 hawks, I couldn't believe it, on a 300-acre parcel.
Yeah, that's good. That fella, I believe, that you're talking to didn't order strychnine, unfortunately, and he was behind the 8 ball on that field. And I think, anyways, I shouldn't quote, but he spent a lot of money on other products, and I believe he's even hired a fellow to take care of the gophers. So it's a huge expense without strychnine. Strychnine is very cost effective, it's very efficient, and it's early season, and you don't have these problems when you plant canola, so, and other things, obviously. But
Yeah, so unfortunate that we don't have that tool in the toolbox anymore. And you're right, I did talk to the gentleman that he hired, and he shot 3,000 out there.
Wow. One day when it was really windy, John phoned me from a quarter that's a ways from us, and he said, I'll be right home. And he didn't come home for like about an hour. And he said, as he was leaving, he discovered a big bunch of gophers. And because of the wind being so loud, he said he could shoot them and they did not hear what was going on. He said he'd never had so much fun in his life because the gopher would just drop over and nobody would do anything about it. The rest of them just kept eating away. So like he said, I killed 40 of them in no time flat. So the wind is worth something some days. Other questions? All right. Looks good, Todd, if you want to move on to your Farming Smarter business.
Absolutely, thank you. And excuse me, I didn't have that pulled up, but I will. So we actually reached out to Farming Smarter, the MD of Tabor, Lethbridge County, as well as 40 Mile County, to give us a little bit of support on the soil erosion and soil conservation topic. We wanted them to write just some information papers and kind of pull in all of the research that's out there on soil conservation and make it applicable to, you know, our southern Alberta that seems to be dealing with this. And they did a great job. They put together a proposal, and I think they have some great topics. It came with a cost. So this is a little bit of an aside from our conversation today, a letter of support. But anyways, we sent it out to the whole south region of municipalities, which essentially is the special areas and everybody kind of south of Calgary. And I was surprised at how many different municipalities were dealing with soil erosion in the south. And it was well over half. And there's 19 of us in the south. So this is not something that we're going about ourselves. And it's a concern that's probably across the prairies. So anyways, long story short, we're working on that and that proposal. And through that process, Ken and Jamie from Farming Smarter sent this request for letters of support for this program that they're going through. And I've attached that program and that research grant that they're looking for as well. And they're thinking that, you know, they might get some more traction with the federal government through this grant process if they had some buy-in from the local municipalities. I think the tricky part of that buy-in is they've asked for some sort of resource support, whether that's financial or human resources or information. And when you look through that grant, which I assume everybody has, it's a wonderfully well put together paper, but their second part of their research proposal is for $10 million. And when I think of financial supports that we might be able to contribute to that, I don't know that it would be significant enough to be a reasonable number. So I would propose that if we are to support their program, which I think is good, at least 6 out of the 10 that they have, I think are good for our area residents. I would suggest that we write our letter of support to be human resource in nature and information in nature, that kind of support, and not financial support. If that makes sense to everybody.
Thanks, Todd. Any questions in regards to Todd's information and suggestion? Brian.
So in part of this, how much are they wanting to glean from people within your department or that have expertise at this level in our community? Because I think that's the second part of this. It's one thing to be involved in the program, but in order to get real good value out of it, I didn't see that, and I just glossed over it really quickly, but I was just wondering if you had some input in as to how you can bring your expertise or people in your department or even just people in the community that are well knowledged in this to be part of this and contribute.
Yeah, that's a really good question, and it's always tough going in to know those kinds of things. And that's where I believe the local municipalities will have some benefit to their program, because Farming Smarter, at least from what I gather, they love working with landowners and they enjoy that kind of field scale research type opportunities. And in order to know what's going on the ground and know who to talk to. I think that's where the local municipalities come into play. So if they want to know, maybe it's, let's just pick on one here, some different irrigation management strategies, they might reach out to us and say, do you know people that are doing this, that, or the other thing? And then we'll get those guys in contact with Farming Smarter to get the boots on the ground feel for it, right? I think that's one of the benefits of working with an outfit like Farming Smarter is they're very focused on the practical outcomes of what they do. Does that help a little bit? So I think it's just hard to knock down the amount of hours I might need to, do some of that engagement for them.
Yeah, I just wanted to know about the, that there would be input from our area, because being part of it is one thing and involvement is something else. I have a question after your report regarding the workstation. I just wanted to let you finish on this too, please.
Sure.
Any other thoughts on the Farming Smarter concept? Otherwise, we need a motion to proceed with the letter, I believe, is Hubie?
I'll make that motion. Yeah.
Okay, so Hubie has made the motion to send a letter of support that outlines the County of Newell's support for the project. All in favor? Opposed? That motion is carried. Brian, back to your question.
Yeah, I just wanted an update. I have no contacts as far as how our Southern Alberta Research Station is being operated or what their capacity is. Or I know there was some pretty significant cutbacks. I'm not sure if it's a year ago or over a year ago, but anyways, if you have any information, Todd, just in a brief way, can you describe what they're doing there? I do see some activity. I'm just not sure what their scope of their research is doing these days.
Yeah, it's a great question. I guess most of the information I have is anecdotal and just through the different people that we work with for our surveys and even through some of the contacts at Farming Smarter. It sounded like it was going to be Lethbridge College, I believe, that had a little bit of the plot work. I shouldn't even probably quote that, but I know the college was involved. I know the greenhouses are being utilized for research. At least I think I know that. But yeah, you're right. A lot of the programs are very limited in scope. The people that we work with, Dr. Mike Harding and Shelley Barkley, Chris Neeser, they're still around and working out of CBC South. So that's good news for us. Well, there's lots of other research that used to happen there that obviously doesn't anymore. But yeah, that's about all I know. Is I know when I reached out to Farming Smarter to talk about the soil stuff, I asked them if they had the opportunity to work at the CBC because obviously a lot of the area is set up for plot work. It's got good irrigation systems to manage that kind of thing. And they said that at that time, or at least when I talked to them, they hadn't had the opportunity to be involved there. So they were going a different direction, I guess, the province.
Yeah, I think it's been pretty gutted for sure. Hubie.
Well, in the past, they did work in conjunction. The Federal Research Station in Lethbridge and Vauxhall worked in conjunction with this station in Brooks. So they had shared projects, but I don't know if that's going to continue or not. They did that for a number of years.
And I know there was some hard feelings that the local college here was unable to get any involvement, and Lethbridge was the one that was named. So,
which I think is great if somebody's going to utilize the property for research and to continue some of that great work. I think the unfortunate part is if, you know, Lethbridge College isn't able to utilize it to its potential, and other organizations might have been able to use a part of it, right? So maybe the whole area didn't need to go to one outfit. We could have had some segregation there, and everybody could have won, but it doesn't look like it's going that direction.
Right. Okay. Anything else for Todd today? Looks like you're off the hook, except you still have to sit and listen to us, or sort of pay a little bit of attention anyhow. Thank you, Todd. We'll go on to item 11.2. And we've had a request from Shannon, who I'm sure is listening in, just dying to get online and bug us. There she is. I'll let her take over for 11.2.
Thank you. I am requesting a date for a 2022 planning meeting. There's a couple suggestions in the RFD, but yeah, just looking for some feedback.
Thanks, Shannon. What are your thoughts, folks? Anybody have a suggestion?
I do. Can we have July 27th? Just because Shannon didn't mention that date, and it just works for me.
July 27th. Shannon, was there a reason that besides, like, did you guys want, it seems like you wanted them tied in with council meetings, or is there any reason that the 27th wouldn't?
I had kind of floated out the dates, and there was some vacation that week. I booked it around council, or I suggested those dates around council, thinking it would free up other weeks if people had stuff going on, because you already had something that week.
Okay, fair enough. And so we're thinking staff obviously need to be around to participate, yes. Good try, Anne-Marie. Well, how about we look at the first week in July, 5th to the 9th. The 9th is council. How's Monday the 5th?
Birthday party.
I didn't hear what you said, but it sounded like you didn't want to do it that day.
No, I said we could have a birthday party on the 5th.
Oh, is that Anne-Marie's birthday?
Somebody like that.
Oh.
No, we shouldn't do that to her.
Oh, yes, please, do the 5th. Sounds good to me.
Anybody not good with the 5th? All right, we'll do the 5th. Budget 8:30.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Birthday cake at the end.
Maybe we can do it live.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Shannon. We got a date.
Thanks, everyone.
You betcha. Have a good rest of the day. So canceling and rescheduling upcoming meetings. Ariana has brought this to our attention. So cancel the August meeting. We haven't done that one for quite a while. That should work. Matt? Nothing that's, yeah, good. And then setting some different dates, I see. October 21st. So does that mean October 21st isn't a council meeting? Because the orientation is after, obviously that would mean, yeah, Ariana. So the council meeting will be on the 28th. You're muted, Anne-Marie, or Ariana, geez. Ariana, Anne-Marie, you're right above each other on my screen.
The right microphone. That's the right microphone. Sorry about that. So it's a weird year where we're trying to fit a lot of stuff into a short amount of time. So the election is October 21st. I think. Let me bring up my RFD. Or no, sorry. Election day is October 18th. We have an orientation before the council meeting, ideally. So in the information packages for the candidates, we've stated orientation is going to happen the following week, October 25th and 26th. We were thinking October 28th is a good day for the organizational meeting, and it's a nice one to ease people into. And then just based on, we'd have to cancel November 11th anyway. I think we could move the November schedule up a week and have those meetings on November 4th and, what did I say? I didn't write a motion, hold on. November 4th and 18th, so that accommodates both November 11th and then the RMA convention is the 23rd and the 26th, where the second meeting would naturally fall. Make sense? I think you're muted now.
I am, okay. So that all makes sense. So we need a motion. I guess we need a motion for all of that. So that would be to cancel the August 19th meeting, to have the organizational meeting for council on October 28th, and council meetings November 4th and November 18th. Could we get a motion for that, Brian?
Well, I just wanted to ask one question about that first. So you're going to have a meeting on October 28th and then another one on November 4th? That's a week apart.
The 28th is organizational.
Oh, I see. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. And they're not going to do the organizational meeting before their regular council meeting? I won't be here, so it doesn't really matter to me. I'll make the motion, whatever you recommend. But I mean, we always sort of cut it down so we'd have 1 hour or whatever beforehand. And anyways.
But it's because we know the committees and what it means. This is a new group that doesn't have a clue about committees and organizational meetings.
Okay. I'll make the motion as recommended.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Thanks, Ariana, for sorting that out. Item 11.4 is a request for proclamation, National Drowning Prevention Week. Someone wants to make a motion for this. Ellen moves. All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. And a request for letter of support from the Red Bull Outliers. And I think it's fairly self-explanatory. My only question was, I remember years ago, Diane Horvath trying to convince us to have an events registration or something, and I don't know if it had anything to do with insurance or liability or anything, and that's the first thing I thought about, but obviously isn't probably important. No idea. Anne-Marie?
Well, this is on private land and it's well organized with a group that has lots of experience with organizing big events. They know exactly the steps to go through with Alberta Transportation because it's off the 876. They know about environmental sensitive areas, so I'm willing to make the motion to give them that letter of support.
Sounds good. Any other questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Checks for payment. Any questions there? If not, a motion to accept. Oh. Ellen?
Yes, I just had one question. It is money, $4,725 going towards Leading Edge Ireland Ltd. and Leave for Municipal Leaders 13. I was just wondering what that meant.
I'll get Matt to tell you.
Yeah, you bet. So we have had our management team and a few others engage with Leading Edge. They're a group. They've got offices North America, Australia, and Ireland, and they provide training on lean techniques. So this is all about looking for ways to eliminate waste and continually improve. It was a very well received session, and we're looking at rolling it out further to additional staff beginning in September.
Other questions? If not, a motion to accept the payment register. Tracy? Tracy will move that.
Motion to approve.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Just under request for functions of council, for all of us who attended the May 27th hearing, we just decided to wait until we got permission today for a function, to make that a function of council and to add it to our June timesheets, I guess they're called. So if we could have a motion to do that, Clarence? Clarence moves, and the time that we were using was 9:45 to 2:30, just so everybody has the same. All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Municipal Services, Mark, there he is.
Good afternoon, Council. Geez, halfway to Christmas. We're getting there. Time flies when you're having fun, right? Yeah, you almost would have thought we were moving into Christmas with a snow event that we had as well, right? So always keeps us on our toes. Lots of rain in the past few days here, so that's keeping us on our toes more. We did get a little bit of calcium laid yesterday, and we're feeling the wrath of God with the rain event following that, because there's been a few phone calls saying, why couldn't you have waited until after the rain? So it doesn't matter whether we start early or we finish late or whatever. There's always something that takes place that doesn't meet everybody's expectations. So really try to keep our team on point with when we start the dust abatement program, we do our best to manage the weather, but as we all know, none of us have been able to play God yet, except for our rural farmers that can turn the tap on and irrigate their fields and do better than the rest of us. So we're trying to get that dust abatement started, and just cooperation on the environment side is not there. So we'll see what happens. But other things, most of the roads have firmed up. Anything that was soft, frost boils and such, they've all been dressed with aggregate. They've been bladed out, they've been cleaned up, and I think for the better part, we got a real good handle on all that again this year. Anything left out there that may be a hazard to motorists, there's signage and or lath with flags on it to identify the hazard for people. We did have that recent wind event as well over the past weekend. Crews went out, cleaned up a few downed trees, things like that. Nothing too significant from our side of things. There was definitely stuff reported in the news, however, about damage to private property buildings. I know the Brooks Farm Center, the Robertson Implements building, farmer out on Antelope Creek Road lost an entire storage shop. There were definitely some of those things that happened, but nothing that required too much attention from our staff. So other than that, we've been getting through our annual programs and stuff. Crack ceilings complete, line painters, Jeff's trying to confirm a start date with them. Maintenance operators continue doing sign maintenance, catch basin spring cleaning, things like that. And really the biggest one that we're still working on with contracted services is the recovery of eroded soils that filled in roadside ditches. Terry's been working on snow storage site plans and salt management plan. Proactive measures on the salt management plan. We do not use 500 tons of salt per season. We're under that threshold, which is a cutoff line for the federal government. So really we're doing it proactively, because some years we've been getting close to that, depending on how tough winter is and how much we have to use on our paved roads. Snow storage sites, however, are something regulated by Alberta Environment, so we are getting that plan into place. Had the engineer review, so we just got a few things to do to wrap that up, and I think we're going to be ahead of a few people on having those in place. Aggregate, we do have the JD Mollard performing field visits to several potential aggregate sites as identified by their desktop review, and collecting the non-intrusive data on that stuff. We will be seeking to do some communications with landowners, see if we can get permission, do some test pitting and stuff, see what we can discover out of that, and maybe we'll be capable of having a discussion with council on securement of additional aggregate reserves for the future. So that would be good for us. Hopefully there's something in the south that they've identified. One Tree Road overlay paving project. It expected to start the second week of May. Contractor's been busy with other things, so we're looking at beginning here in June. I know they've got some culvert work to finish up, and then the paving will commence after that. So shouldn't be too much longer now for us on that. And Headgates property, lots of things happening out there. We got the house moved that needed to get off the new road allowance, and Jeff's been investing significant amount of time out there to make sure things happen the way that they need to. Things don't always go as planned in the field, which is why it's taking an exorbitant amount of his time out there. But when this is done, we'll all be relieved, and we'll be looking at what should have been there in the first place. So Fortis is ongoing with electrical services, land use amendment you guys have been talking about, and yeah, things are just really looking good. So that's pretty well the report. We continue working on asset management plans, and we're chugging away with all those bigger topics and getting through our annual stuff as well. So any questions the council may have.
Brian.
Two questions, Mark. I noticed on, I didn't add them all up, but I noticed we had some bills already coming in for our erosion, and looked like just over 20,000 so far. Where do you think that's going to land just as a rough estimate as far as where you're at and what still has to be done?
I don't want to throw a rough estimate at it because I haven't talked to Terry much about it, but it should be under what was thought to be previous, because progress is being made. I do know that we've had to go back to a few locations a second time due to follow-up wind events that blew things back in. It really isn't in the cards this year, even with irrigation on. You know, even last Saturday we saw soils blowing everywhere in that significant wind event. So I don't want to be too. I don't want to give you a number yet because I'm not sure, Brian.
Fair enough. Second question is on the EID county drainage project. How are they doing? Where are they at? Have they started? I know the focus was going to be in Rosemary this year. Just update, please.
So we've got the EID actually working on cleaning up a bunch of our roadside stuff for the soil erosion. We've got 3 signed landowners in Rosemary right now. I've got it all pegged out. There's 3 or 4 different runs in Rosemary. So we've got our top #1 priorities leading from the receiving basins to the highest elevation where we can get to get that drainage resolved. I'm believing there's going to be another 2 or 3 landowners signed up here in the next week or so. So no, they have not started digging yet, and I know that they're waiting on us, but it's difficult because once they get the engineering design done, I have to get our land agents to do up all the land acquisition documents, confirming where the design's going, and then we have to engage people, and that's just the stage that we're at right now. I wish I could tell you that we were further ahead than that. The holes were in the ground digging, but they're not. Thankfully, there's little to no conflict with Fortis on this project, and there's little to no conflict with telecommunications on this project either. So if everybody buys into it, we're going to be off to the races here in the next few weeks anyway. Thank you.
Anything else for Mark? All right, if there isn't, we need a motion for the municipal reports. Lionel will make a motion to accept. All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Which just takes us to the post-agenda items, and I had put on Siksika Nation, and I just wanted to just talk a little bit about their vaccine clinic that I was invited to. I think it was on the 25th of May, the opening of that, and it really was one of the nicest neighborly occasions I've been at for a long time. And for me, I'd forgotten, because I hadn't been out to the reserve to a formal occasion for a long time, forgotten about just sort of the spiritualism and the wisdom of their elders that they involve in everything that they do. And it was the first time I ever had an elder that purposely said the whole prayer in English. I kept waiting for him to switch over to Blackfoot, because all the time I was in Desano school and at other functions, it was always in Blackfoot. And I talked to him after, and he said, I purposefully decided today I was going to do it in English, because he said so many people don't understand Blackfoot, including lots of them too. But he's just a very fine gentleman. And the whole day was about, or the whole day, it was supposed to be from 9:30 to 10. Well, it didn't end till 11, which isn't uncommon either, but it did start on time. The chief there, who is a descendant of the original Crowfoot, is a very interesting fellow who spent most of his life in the States. He's educated I think he has his MBA from a university in Carolina, and so it is really humorous to hear a Siksika Nation chief sort of speak with a a drawl. Anyhow, he was very, very into being thankful for the communities around the reserve, for particularly the neighborliness and the kindness that they had felt during the flooding. And they had 2 floods in the last, 05 and 2013. So they felt that they have their COVID under control on the reserve. And at that point in time, we were just sort of getting ours throughout the province more under control because we had gone back into lockdown. So that's when they decided to offer vaccines to Vulcan, Wheatland, and Newell. So it was just a really, really neat day. As I said, it went till 11 o'clock, and it gave me a lot of hope for maybe further work with them as one of our boundary people in our county of Newell. Anyhow, that day there were a few of us from neighboring municipalities, and they gave us a gift, and I'll send you a picture of it. And it's a beautiful blanket with Siksika Nation logo on it, and their name and their colors, which you can't all see because some of them are folded over on I just put it up on the balcony above our beautiful view here in the office. And I just thought it was too nice just for me to hoard, and lovely thing to share. So all of this happened, in 1 week in May. It was May 25th. And by the following week, of course, there was the announcement about the 215 graves in Kamloops at the residential school. And as I heard someone else say, it just doesn't, graves and schools just shouldn't be used in the same sentence for some reason, but they are. And I have been communicating with Chief O'Ray Crowfoot, trying to work out a date, or get him to work with his council to get a date for some of us to get together one way or another, so that he could meet the County of Newell Council, because he would like to do that. Anyhow, I sent him a text and just expressed my concern for how I was feeling at that discovery, the announcement, because in my hometown of Birtle, Manitoba, there was a residential school, and I went to school with kids from that school who were integrated around the time I moved into the town school from a country school. So the whole residential school things were quite real to me. Anyhow, I just wanted to make a comment about the beautiful gift, and I'm going to send you a picture of it. And also just to, encourage any of you who don't know much about the residential schools to maybe learn a little bit about them. And it's awareness of the past that helps us in the future. And that was something that Chief Crowfoot, I sent him the text. I was feeling quite downhearted, and he responded in if I can find it here quickly, he's very positive about moving forward and learning from our mistakes, which of course is what we all must do. But I really hope that we can get together in the near future with the chief and council. He said, "Thank you, Reeve. I will have some discussion with our council team in our upcoming meetings next week. There were 2 of these schools. I had mentioned my feeling, and that there'd been one in my hometown. There were 2 of these schools located on Siksika Nation, and my mother attended the one at Old Sun. We can move forward as a community and work towards building bridges and help heal some of the actions from the past. There is a horrific history Canada has, and many non-natives didn't and won't fully understand the multi-generational trauma these schools have done to our nations. And unfortunately, it takes a horrific event like this to bring light to some of the truths we have been living with for years. We can never correct or reconcile the past, but let's continue to work together to help build a brighter future for our future generations. So I just wanted to let you guys know that that was one of the good and, on the other hand, bad, but moving forward. And I think we need to work on establishing respectful relationships with our Aboriginal and Indigenous communities. And again, I'm hopeful that before a lot of us leave this council, we can get together with the Chief and Council from the Siksika Nation. And I'll send you a picture of the nice blanket that we hung up this morning, just to sort of show a little bit of support, perhaps, for our Indigenous communities, and just thankful from a bordering community like we have other mementos within our building from other communities. So, yeah, that's my soapbox of the day, which I don't often do. Are there any other information items from council today? Or anything else before we get to adjourn, I guess? All right, 2:25. We will adjourn our meeting. Thank you, everyone.